Dr. Deborah Birx is in the hot seat. They're all taking their turns, aren't they? Yesterday, she had a pretty interesting thing to say, a pretty profound thing to say about the models and the projections of death and despair and illness as a result of COVID-19. Now, up till now, she and Dr. Fauci have been touted as two of the best in the world on infectious diseases and the spread of coronavirus. You know, here's what she said about some of these models. This is cut number 6 from Fox News and Grabian, where there was one model out of London that originally said 500,000 Brits were going to die from COVID-19. Then they said, no, it's really probably going to be 20,000. There's a big difference between 500,000 and 20,000 in my book. But the person responsible for the study said, well, we never were saying it's inevitable 500,000. We're saying worst case scenario if nothing is done. Dr. Birx keeps saying a lot of these scenarios are if nothing is done. Well, plenty is being done all over the world, and she reiterated that yesterday.
The predictions of the models don't match the reality on the ground in either China, South Korea, or Italy. We are about 5 times the size of Italy. So if we were Italy and you did all those divisions, Italy should have close to 400,000 deaths. They're not close to achieving that. So these are the kinds of things we're trying to understand. Models are models. We're adapting now to the reality. There's enough data now of the real experience with the coronavirus on the ground to really make these predictions much more sound. So when people start talking about 20% of a population getting infected, it's very scary. But we don't have data that matches that.
Uh-oh. Well, you know right away what happened with the mob. The mob has decided to accuse her of having drunk the Kool-Aid. She's now a Trumpist. She's now like the rest of the mind-numbed zombies in the White House. It's unbelievable because this expert is giving information that doesn't lead to this Armageddon prediction. What is going on here? Are Americans rooting against America? I guess that shouldn't be a surprise, but I sure don't want to believe that. I desperately don't want to believe in that. I mean, people are minimizing, even governors banning the prescriptions and the dispensing in pharmacies of hydroxychloroquine because President Trump touted it as something that's working. Some of this stuff just isn't making any sense. And the president yesterday also trying, I mean, he's getting slammed because he's trying to instill hope. And one of the ridiculous accusations is that Trump was, the federal government was completely flat-footed, didn't respond quickly enough. You've heard that a lot, right? From people you know in your life who hate Trump. He didn't act quickly enough. He didn't respond. The federal government didn't respond. Can I remind you what the mayor of New York did? Former presidential candidate and mayor of New York, where right now the city is reeling from more and more cases. The numbers are scary. The reports out of New York, the reporting out of New York is terrifying. Last night, first 5 minutes of Tucker Carlson, and I wanted to just go to bed. Had some nurse walking up and down the halls with a phone showing ventilators, saying, we need these ventilators. Tucker saying there's boxes of ventilators somewhere that they're not getting to. I'm like, what is happening here? Then you turn on a Sean Hannity show or Laura Ingraham show, and it's a whole different picture. It's like Tucker, and I love all those guys. I'm a fan of Tucker Carlson. But you watch that show, and it is the Grim Reaper. It's really, really profound to see the difference in tone between a show like Tucker Carlson's and, say, a show like Laura Ingraham's. The Michigan governor is now banning hydroxychloroquine, and I'm thinking, what are you talking about? I know people who have been dramatically made better after having that drug dispensed by their physicians in New York. Young men. And a woman, two guys and a lady who completely, one of them said that it was almost like they weren't even sick. They had double pneumonia. And they were given hydroxychloroquine and Z-Pak. I don't know I'm not a doctor. I don't know if it's working or not, but I know a governor's not a doctor. I saw a governor or a doctor who was a governor last night in Kansas saying, of course we should be trying these drugs. How can you not? But again, I want to go back to this nonsense that the president and the federal government is to blame for not being aware. We know that the epicenter in America is in New York City. Huge percentage of all the cases are in New York. Everybody understands it, right? Cut 11. Here was Tucker Carlson last night reminding everyone about the mayor of New York. Cut 11 from Fox News and Grabian.
On March 2nd, this March 2nd, Mayor Bill de Blasio tweeted this, quote, "Since I'm encouraging New Yorkers to go on with your lives, plus get out on the town despite coronavirus, I thought I would offer some suggestions. Here's the first. Through Thursday, go see The Traitor. If The Wire was a true story plus set in Italy, it would be this film." That's right. Go to a movie theater immediately.
Now, I don't hear a single example of Trump telling people to go to movie theaters and go out on the town. Maybe I missed it. Who knows? I didn't hear him ever say what the New York City Public Health Commissioner, Oxiris Barbot, said. This is February 2nd. This was days after the Trump administration issued the travel ban from China, recognizing the virus came from China. The left wants to get into all this garbage about calling it the Wuhan virus, calling it the China virus, whatever. It came from Wuhan, China. Everybody, they all know it. And when the administration realized it, they said no more travel from China into the United States. I give you the New York City Public Health Commissioner on February 2nd. That's just a few weeks ago, really, in retrospect. After the travel ban from China. Listen to this, cut 13 from Fox News and Grabian.
The risk to New Yorkers for coronavirus is low, and that our preparedness as a city is very high. There is no reason not to take the subway, not to take the bus, not to go out to your favorite restaurant, and certainly not to miss the parade next Sunday. I'm going to be there.
Don't you dare tell
Take the
me
subway.
that this is a Republican failing. Don't you dare tell me that this is somehow all on Donald Trump's shoulders and that the Trump administration wasn't ready for this. When you hear that, I mean, that just it reminds us all, this is not a partisan issue. So knock it off. Knock it off with the politicizing of virus. And I've been saying that all throughout this thing. Stop blaming Republicans. Listen, none of them knew. Nobody knew. Cuomo didn't know. New York officials didn't know. New York state senators who said go to Chinatown, go to parades didn't know. The health commissioner, go ride the subway. February 2nd, knock it off.